He gives the Hornets a 5-point lead with 17.8 seconds to go.
I hit that shot, and I remember I let Michael know. I let Phil Jackson know. I let Scotty know. I let everyone that I knew over there know.
I felt like BJ should know better. If you're gonna high five, talk trash, now I had a bone to pick with you. You know, I'm supposed to kill this guy. You know, I'm supposed to dominate this guy. And from that point on, I did.
This is a Silk exclusive.
What time is it?
Game time! Boom! And then the next episode started with BJ Armstrong's moment. You know, BJ, you know, like I said, after Mike came back, BJ's on the Hornets, and BJ was feeling himself, and it was at game one. Yeah. He was feeling himself. BJ, he was coming off the pick, popping, hitting. Jordan, final play was for him. Like, he was feeling himself, man. Shot over Longley, shot. You know, BJ had a moment. BJ had a good moment, and then, like we all know, you don't poke the bear. Yeah. Mike got at him, you know what I'm saying? But that was cool. BJ spoke on it. BJ was hyped, you know what I'm saying? But another thing I'm glad that they did mention was the legend of LaBradford Smith. Yeah, this was another legend, myth, rumor, tale, possible that they confirmed on this episode. So again, as a fan, I know these things, but it was like, I don't know how the truth is, you know, but I thought it was true. So for those that don't know.
Do you know the LaBradford Smith story? Has anybody told you that?
Bradford Smith left wing drains it. Bradford Smith came off the screen from 16. Wow, baseline. Smith has hit everything else from there. Wanted another one, huh?
Bradford Smith lit Mike up one night, played for the Washington Bullets, lit Mike up for 37 one night, went in, you know, he had his night. Everybody get a night, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Cool. The story went, LaBradford, you know, pat Mike on the back and said, "Good game." And Mike, as we know, Mike was like, "Word?" But I'm gonna have what he had tonight by halftime. And he only had 36, but he ended up with like 47 at the end of the game. He lit the Bradford. You can see they showed the highlights. He was just like, you know, pissed them off. And Mike just being Mike showed, you know, you don't poke at him, you don't tease him, you don't mess with him, you don't tell him good game, and you just light him up.
But it meant that he made that up though.
Yeah, he made it up. He ain't even say it.
Fast forward to decades past the incident, and there's a rumor that this never happened. LaBradford Smith never put his arm around Mike and said, "Nice game, Mike." A couple of writers went up to Michael and said, "Did this ever happen?" And Michael was, with a smile, just like, "No, I made it up."
LaBradford
he needed
Smith,
something though. Like he needed something.
Him on the back and said, "Good game." Mike made that up.
That's crazy.
Michael Jordan is a psychopath. Let's just put it out there. Michael Jordan.
But Joe, if they use it to psych himself out to go crazy, like
yeah. You know what I'm saying? But he made a personal vendetta against him, man. This was, like I said, this story was legendary. Like LaBradford Smith, again, a name you only mention in this sentence with Michael Jordan.
Right, yeah.
So Mike made him famous.
Right.
And we thought he was a brave enough soul to be like, "Yo, good game, Mike. I got you."
If LaBradford Smith is on social media, he got some more followers last night, I promise.
Yeah. He need to be on ESPN this week, Isaiah. And somebody need to call him, find LaBradford Smith. It's time, your 15 minutes, let's go. Start the clock, let's go. Because I don't even recall him ever denying it. Like, I don't know if they ever spoke to him about it or what. Like, maybe he just went with it.
I used to always hear his name in the story, but I don't remember him ever saying, "Nah, I ain't say that," or you know.
Well, you got to think about it. He can't, because if you come out and say, "Nah, I didn't say that," and Mike still whipped your ass the way he whipped your ass, like you better. I did say it. Yeah, I said it. He whooped my ass for it. Because to go down, like, you know, I didn't talk shit to him, and then Mike came back and dropped 36 on me in the corner.
It's crazy. Like, the dude just, and again, shout out to the director and the editors, because as they were explaining to us that he made it up and they showed him that little smirk, and it was just like, dude, like, your man, he is crazy.
Yeah.
That is psycho, man. Like, that is psycho. Man, but the Bradford Smith, like, shout out to you wherever you are. BJ, I mean, shout out to BJ. Like I said, he knew the repercussions of it, but it was still a moment. BJ,
you gotta take it. He had to take
one
it.
game though. Like, I got you. Like, you can't even deny me that. Like, I had my moment. Like, they showed Glenn Rice all them. They was hyped like BJ. Like, you know what I'm saying? Horace had his moment. You know, Horace had his moment when they stripped the ball. Mike came back. You know, Orlando won. We're gonna talk about that a little bit too. During that summer, he also filmed Space Jam. The only Space Jam, because, you know, there's another one coming, but, you know, we ain't acknowledging that. We ain't acknowledging that. It's only one Space Jam. Just like there's only one Dream Team. You know, they tried to pull that Dream Team 2, and it was like, no. There's only one Dream Team. There's only one Space Jam. You know what I'm saying? It's, you know what I'm saying? But what they did touch on was during, you know, while filming, you know, he put up a little basketball. Well, before that, I'm jumping ahead. After the baseball strike, he kind of was just chilling for a minute. BJ Armstrong hit him up like, you ain't doing nothing. Come to practice with us. You know what I'm saying? He was like, all right, come to practice. One practice turned into like a week, a couple of days straight. Got the little itch. You know what I mean? So to get back in shape and things, while he was filming Space Jam, built a little court for him. He said, "Y'all ain't gonna do it. That's y'all can." And like, all right, look, of course, Michael Jordan won a basketball court. Okay, build it. Like, what you need? Like, you know what I'm saying? So they did, and Michael did what Michael do. He scouted the current players. Robin came through. Ewing, Reggie Miller, a bunch of players came through, and you know what I'm saying? They fell into the trap because he was just scouting. You know what I'm saying? But they,
I mean, to some of their credit though, some of them was in the movie too, so like they was gonna be around. But they did fall into the trap though. 100%.
Which is crazy because I didn't even know he had a full court when he was on Space Jam.
I didn't know that either. That
was brand new to me.
I knew they said they had set it up, but I didn't know they had the whole tent. Like, it was, I didn't know it was like that either. I thought they just maybe give him a rim so he can just get some shots up, maybe a little 3-on-3 half court. You know, they gave him a full 5-on-5, and he was calling up the homies, people coming through, and they said those practices was intense. Like, it wasn't just like they was just playing around. They was going in. And, you know what I'm saying? And it was like his intense practices. And even Reggie was like, you know what I'm saying? I came, I wanted to see if Mike still had it in him. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, Mike was watching them like, I want to see what they doing. Like, what I missed the last season or so. Like, what y'all got going on? You know what I mean? And, you know, then the itch, he had to fulfill the itch. And it turned into the infamous fax that was sent over to the league from his agent. 2 words, I'm back. And everybody was just like, as big as the retirement was, the return was even bigger. Where were you guys when that I'm back, when you know the word came out? Lou, talk to me.
See, that was what, end of '95, right?
Yes, it was
'95, beginning '95.
He came back mid-season. So it was like early. It was early.
It was March when he played his first game back. It was March when he played his first game back.
Right. So it was like February, March.
And you know, back then we didn't have social media. We didn't have cell phones. Like, you had to go home and find out, like, on the news with the news.
Right.
So I didn't find out till like that night. You know, like watching the 10 o'clock news when Jordan was back. And I can't speak for all, but me as a Knicks fan, my first words was, "Damn."
Exactly.
Just damn. Like, that's all I thought of. Like, I knew, part of me knew he was going to come back eventually. You don't just walk away from something like that. But I'm like, damn, we even barely got 2 seasons without you. Like, you know, we
let's talk about that
touched
first.
the rim, you know, 94. Like, So I was just heartbroken. Like, he's back. Like,
Well, let me ask you now. What where were you at when the news broke that Mike was coming back to the league?
Yeah, similar to Lou. I'm sure it had to be that night on the news. And I was one of those people that when he left, I was just shocked as everybody. I'm like, yo, you just won 3 straight in your prime, best player in the league. Again, yeah, just lost your pops. But, a lot of people use that to say, you know what, I'm going to dedicate the rest of my career, to my pops. I'm going to do that. But when he walked away, it was like, wow. And I think if I was this age now when that happened, I might have understood it more and not been that shocked. But being, what was I, like 14 or something like that when that happened or whatever, I'm looking at like, why would he do that? So when we fast forward, basically 2 years later, and he's like, I'm back. I'm just like, damn, son, like you left, and then right then, the season after, my team goes to the finals, and we lose. But
True,
and then we have an okay season after that. We don't get back there, but
Right.
So I'm thinking, as long as he's not in the league, we could work our way back up to that. We didn't win in, we did really well in '94. Not as well the next year, but I'm like, look, we still formidable. We can work on it. Maybe we can get as good as the Magic, whatever the case may be. But as long as we don't have him, we got a shot. So when he's back, I'm like, yo, come on, bro. We thought we was rid of you, son. Like, come on, man. Yo, the rest was history, man.
Because as we all know, the first game back was against the Pacers. His stamina, endurance was definitely off. All his shots was like front rim. The legs wasn't under him. You know what I'm saying?
I give him props because as a baseball player, the training is completely different for your body. Training for baseball is all legs, it's all stretching, it's all, building your endurance not for a sprint, but more for a marathon. When you train for basketball, you're used to that quick up and down action.
Right.
Yeah.
Baseball is a completely different set of muscles that you're working. You're working on your breathing. You're working on your timing. Like it's way different. So for him to in 18 months to do a 360 with that, it takes a lot. Like you have to, one, mentally prepare yourself, and two, physically, your body is not going to know what to do with itself.
Right.
Because for 18 months, you've been training your legs not to catch, pop a hamstring or, how to shag a fly ball. You're working completely different parts of your body.
Yeah.
Baseball is all legs, all lower body, and, abs. Basketball, your arms, you got to have your arms up, strength up. So for him to switch, I give him kudos for that because it takes a lot. And you can't get yourself ready for one. Baseball takes you all year to get. You're not in peak shape for baseball until probably the playoffs come.
Right.
That's when you see most baseball players in their peak form. So for him to train for 18 months for baseball and then drop it and go straight into basketball, tough. Tough as hell. So
and I think
that's Mike.
And as tough as it is, that's why he wasn't immediately successful because it's rough. Like it's rough.
And that's why, like the Indiana game, you could just see, he was, and that's the same thing. Like we said, going back to current time, people talking about the NBA can resume and they can start, but it's like, dude, they just took 2 months off. Nothing compares to the game and game shape. These guys are in shape, but just the motion, the movement of running back and forth, cutting, chasing somebody off a screen, nothing compares to that. You just shooting jumpers in your backyard, because they got courts in their house, but that's not the same thing as playing an actual game. And that's why, going back, like we said too, Michael always was involved in some intense practices. The Dream Team practice, they was going at it. Magic poked the bear again. I think we forgot to talk about that. Magic called him out during the Dream Team practice, and then he went ham on him there. You know what I'm saying? Space Jam practices, like just Mike played those games as if they was a real game, because again, his competitive nature, and I think Reggie said those Space Jam runs was like all-star games. It was like everybody that came, and it was just like everybody was focused on, we going hard. You know what I'm saying? I wish there was more footage of those games. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, but it took a couple games for Mike to get right. Of course, the one.
We can skip over this.
No,
yeah, we gotta talk about that.
Really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Double 5-5. You know what I'm saying? That's when Mike was like back. You know what I'm saying?
But can I say one thing though? Like, no one poked the bear when he came to the Garden. It was just the thought of playing in the Garden that Mike had to put on the show.
The Knicks never bothered him. The Knicks was never giving no bulletin board material. We never did any of that.
Like, it was just the fact that he was in the Garden that he wanted to do that. Like, that's what pisses me off the most.
The bad boy persona.
Right, but when people talk about Mike and playing against the Knicks, it was like, oh, he always busts the Knicks' ass. Like, no, he just played that well because it was Madison Square Garden. Like, you play any other team, and Mike's doing the same thing because it's the Garden.
Yeah.
So that's just a lot.
Nah, I mean that's true. I mean, he buzzed the whole entire league ass.
Yeah.
I just think that we happened to play where he loved to play, and and
he kind of made the Garden the place. Like I said, now you guys kind of get picked on, but Steph Curry had it coming out in the Garden. Like like Harden.
A lot of players, yeah, they
like it's the
it's just the fact that it's the Garden. Like the Garden is the very best. Like that's the spotlight. Like if you want to put yourself on the map, you do it at the Garden.
Yeah.
Because only the greatest have done at the Garden.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's usually everyone's coming out party. Mike kind of set the tone for that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, looking back, the double nickel game kind of, it's called the, you know what I'm saying? Like, but that was, and then him, he just, that was the place. Like when he's at the Garden, like, we gotta, I'm busting ass tonight. Like, everybody watching, Spike is there. That's probably just Spike poked the bear. Spike poked the bear.
You think so?
Jerry Seinfeld over there. You got
Spike was his homeboy. Spike put him in commercials. He should have been good with Spike.
But even his friends could get it. Like that's just Mike was opportunity. Like Oakley was there. Like even my man can get it. Like he was just that competitive. We cool. Right. So I'm gonna go up afterward. We're gonna go, but at the tip off, I don't know you.
Yeah. But that double nickel game, so listening to last night, Pat was like, he had a good game. So I had to go back actually look at Pat's stats for that night.
And what was his number?
36, 7, and 4 blocks.
Yo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. He wasn't lying.
Yeah.
He wasn't lying. That is a great
That's a great game.
That's a good line.
But it's overshadowed.
By the damn double nickel. And and what kicks he had on? Did he have which kicks did he wear?
Don't remember. Did he wear the one? No, he didn't wear the ones that game.
I feel like it was Concord.
I think it was the Concord. Yeah,
I think it was the Concord that he went double nickel on it. I gotta look it up to see what's. But man,
it was one of those. Either he got games or the Concords. I don't remember, but yeah.
That game will be etched in my brain for the rest of my life.
I remember that too. I remember watching it and I wasn't even mad. I was just watching it like here
we go again.
Right, yeah.
MSG, because the other games weren't televised, so we just saw clips of it. We live in New York, so but it was like that game was like probably the first one I watched from start to finish, and it was like, he's in the zone, like he
was just in another world right now. Like
still, he wasn't getting off the ground with the fadeaway as much, but the ball was going in. Like that's all that matters. Like,
my point with that game is you would never ever call that game, Jordan's 55-point game. No, that game will forever be known as double nickel because he just played out of his 5th game back out post retirement. Mind you, the Knicks were the Knicks. We were like just coming off the finals run, and Mike came into the Garden and literally just bust our ass.
Yeah. So that was the game. He was back. He hit a stride. Was looking good. The Bulls were struggling that year. They was only like 4 games over 500. Ended up getting into the playoffs, but then we bumped into the Orlando Magic. Horace got his moment. BJ already had a moment, but Horace got his moment. You know what I'm saying? Horace, Shaq, Penny, Nick Anderson, 3D, Dennis Scott. Like they had a nice little young team too, man.
100%, definitely.
That Orlando team had a nice run. But again, once again, there's a 30 for 30 for that. ESPN connecting the dots. They got like a little Marvel Universe joints, but 30 for 30 on them. We're not gonna go deep into that team. But just the specifics of what happened was, you know what I'm saying, Mike got tired. That run of the comeback was good. He hit that peak, but then, you know, playing for that long, not fully conditioned for the run, hit him, and, you know, they beat us. I ain't going, you know, can't deny it. Nick Anderson came up behind Mike, stripped the ball from him.
Yeah. Got
down, scored. You know, it was a wrap. The team was young. They was young and running. Mike was like, I just got back. Hold on. Slow down. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Here at the United Center, and the Orlando Magic gets the victory. Look at Horace. They're booing him up on the shoulders, Bob.
But like what happens when Mike loses, he
Yeah.
said, all right, I'm going to see y'all. So his trainer was like, yo, Mike, call me, you know, let me know when you're ready to get back in the gym. He's like, yeah, I'm going to see you tomorrow.
He's like, I'm in the gym. I'm in the gym now, though. I'm in the gym now. Just,
you know, like,
the trainer's face was priceless, though. Like, he was...
Because he thinking, like, Mike going to take the summer off.
Take a break, relax.
Yeah, like, you just did Space Jam, baseball, this.
The trainer probably had a vacation plan. He was like, tomorrow.
For real.
Like, yeah, okay.
Up my plans.
Mike, that he did. And then, you know, we already know they felt like, okay, it was getting out rebounded. Horace wasn't there. Dennis, come through. Dennis wasn't happy on the Spurs anyway. It brought Dennis, and Dennis was there for the Space Jam run. So Mike already was scouting.
Yeah,
scouting, which is smart, you know.
Bring him over.
Mike is a very underrated cerebral assassin. Like, mentally, like his mental game was crazy.
Yeah.
The fact that he brought these dudes in, now come watch me, come on, I got a whole gym for us.
Right.
Let's run.
Mm-hmm.
Take notes. Like, it's crazy to him to think on that level. And then the next season, when they asked him about bringing Rodman in, he was like, hell yeah, I see what he can do.
Right. I just seen him. Yeah. He's pretty good. Let's go. And he knew what his ass in. Pistons, right. But he also seen him firsthand recently. Like, the Pistons run was over, like, you know, back early 89, 90.
Right.
But now we in 92, 93. I mean, 91, he's still good these 3-4 years later. Bring him on. Let's go. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's what, like, your coach Van Gundy was like, yo, don't go to dinner with him during the playoffs. Like, don't go hang out with him because, like you said, he's cerebral. Like, any advantage, any edge he can get, and those are his friends. It ain't personal. It's just we people. I'll even pick up the bill. I got the steaks. It's on me tonight. Man. You know what I mean? You good?
I just don't know how physically.
One other one,
like it's on me tonight. It's on you tomorrow night, though. Yeah, like,
Mike took that off season. He took that off season and just some explaining that he would get up at 7, shoot Space Jam, take a 2-hour break, train, finish shooting, and then play 3 hours of pickleball with NBA players.
Yeah, wildin', son.
Who does that as a summer? Yeah. That was his summer.
And
so for him to come back
of his life, that, like I said, you know, I was saying it to be funny that they haven't spoken of Juanita, but we really do need Juanita's point of view, because what was he like at home? When was he even home?
Right.
What was their relationship even like? Because you can see them having, you know, marital issues, you know what I'm saying? But it's like his schedule was like booked. Like, damn, did they go on dates? Like, did they, you know what I'm saying? And so it was just like, and that's the funny thing about it. Like, again, I don't want to put his business out there, but he was caught cheating or whatever. When?
Right. When did he have time?
It's like,
the man barely slept.
And that speaks to his stamina, I guess. Like, he played ball, filmed the movie, went out to got shorty real quick. You know what I'm saying? I'm training. Like, the man had energy. Like,
like it takes you to think on a whole different level to plan out your whole summer around going back and busting Orlando's ass. Like, beef. Just. I walked away from the TV when I think I'm done with him. Like, I'm done.
They had a nice young team, so they were still on they come up. They, the year they beat us, they got swept by, Houston. But again, he's like, all right, they're gonna come back though. They still good. They still got a young team. They're gonna bounce back from that. We got to be ready for them. And boy, the Bulls, like I said, the new squad came through. Michael and Steve Kerr bonded. Rodman came through, fit in. That 91 season, 72-10. Broke the record. First team to win 70. I think it was ever at that time, right? Like the Lakers was 69 wins.
Lakers was 69, right? 69.
Yeah. So the Bulls won 72-10. Great season. They won I think it was 15 of the first 17 games. A bunch of games in a row that season. Like it was just dominating. Like it was just like a different intensity. Like if people was already scared or fearful of the Bulls before, Michael and them was like that year. It was ridiculous. I'm gonna give y'all some flowers. Our worst loss of the season was 32-point loss to the Knicks. You know what I mean? I didn't forget that. Of the 10 losses, that one 32-point game, y'all smacked us. I don't know what happened. I needed 30 for 30 on just that game. How did that go wrong? You know what I'm saying? But Scottie Pippen coined the phrase, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got the ring.
Right, yeah.
And 72-10 was cool, but then the playoffs started, and they ran through the playoffs real quick. You know what I'm saying? And ended up meeting the Orlando Magic again,
and smoked like.
It's just crazy though, because when he sat down for the press conference, he was like, "Yeah, 45 ain't 23." Like you held that from last year.
Oh yeah,
that's the first thing you mentioned.
I don't understand. Like people hadn't been noticing that when you just give him material, like Nick Anderson, you wildin', bro. Like you hype, you that hype. You like Nick, and you that hype that he just finished playing baseball and he's not really ready. You trying to take advantage of that and talk shit about that, bro? After what this man has done in the league, what do you think is gonna happen, son? Like, come on, man.
No comment. Like no comment.
Yeah, you couldn't ask me nothing about Mike if I was in the league.
Nope.
I'm talking.
They'd be like,
so
what do you think about? What do you think about Michael Jordan? I'd be like, Michael Jordan's great, man. But can we talk about tonight's game and what we did? Or I mean,
right. No comment. Like
I don't want to talk about him. I don't want to say nothing about him. Not like.
So they swept through them, got them up out of there real quick. That was a wrap. And just when I thought, I was talking to you, Rel. I'm like, they're gonna give the Supersonics some respect because a lot of people sleep on the Supersonics team. You know what I'm saying? The Bulls won 72, but that year the Sonics won like 66 games, something like that.
Yeah.
Beat teams.
Best in the West. Yep.
John Kemp, Detlef Schrempf, like Nate McMillan, they had a squad. They were shooting threes before.
Hawkins, a bunch of.
You know what I mean? And nope, the Bulls went up 3-zip, and it was nothing. But then the fourth game, and here goes some more legacy myths, legend tales.
I had just won Defensive Player of the Year, made all league. But me and George had a meet. He said, "Look, I don't care about your defense right now. I know that you can do that, so I need you to score." So he didn't want to sacrifice me on both ends of the floor, but we got down 3-0. I was mad. I said, "Fuck what you talking about, George. I'm guarding whatever you say." I said, you can't control this no more.
Seattle finally win. Game 5. Mike had another bad shooting game. Game 6, the Bulls eventually do win, but Mike had another bad shooting. So everybody's like, all right, Gary guarded him pretty well. They interviewed Gary.
I kept hitting him and banging him and hitting him and banging him. It took a toll on Mike. It took a toll, and then I feel myself resting him a little bit, and then the series changed. And I wish I could have did it earlier. I don't know if the outcome would have been different, but it was a difference and beating him down a little bit.
Wasn't worried about Gary Payton. I had other things on my mind. And after that, I was just like, wait, what? Like,
what was on your mind, bro? What was on your mind?
Because me and Rel was talking about this. Like, I'm like, wait, huh? Like,
but I heard him said that. I'm like, damn, did he suck enough to win 2 games so he could win on Father's Day?
Yeah, I said the same thing. Like,
I don't think that happened. But I was kind of disappointed that he laughed like that, because at the end of the day, nobody said that Gary Payton was a Jordan stopper or But I think when you Mike, right, and by that at that time you got 3 chips, and especially now you're talking about it when you got 6 chips and all that, you could say, hey, Gary Payton did a good job on me. You can say that. Nobody's gonna be mad. Nobody's gonna be like, you're not the greatest anymore. Or you can say, hey, you know what? You know, I didn't get stopped, but he did. He wore me down a little bit. Yeah, they did a good job. You can say that. It's okay. Like nobody's gonna think now that Gary Payton is better than you or whatever the case may be. He couldn't even give him that though. I'm just like,
I just think that's the way he's built, though. That's the way he's built. Like he was hired a couple years ago. Nope.
This is what I like to say. Just because you don't make something happen, don't mean it didn't happen, bro. So you can sit there and be like, oh, whatever. We saw what happened. This morning on ESPN, they said that Mike's that series, that finals, Mike averaged 27 points and shot 42%, and that was the lowest out of any finals run. That out of any of the 6 chips, that was his lowest. I mean, you look at any other player average 27 for the finals. That's straight. That's dope. You know what I'm saying? Right. But for him to do that and shoot, and 42 is not a bad shooting percentage either.
Nope.
But but for him,
for a shooter,
right? For a shooter, but for him, those numbers are subpar for that stage. So I think you can get GP a little flowers, Mike. You can do it. Like it's all right. And then to say, I had other things on my mind, like. Nigga, you so competitive, right? You so competitive that nothing else is ever on your mind. Right. But now you got stuff on your mind. Nah.
Well, can we even rewind that to before when they was out to dinner and George Karl walked right by him?
Right. So that was game 1. George Karl, because I think George Karl went to UNC or something like that.
Right. We played golf. Like we had a relationship.
He's
like, I know you, bro. You're gonna walk past me.
He didn't say nothing before tip off. He didn't give him. He just went right by. Like, that's what we on right now. Mike lit him up in game 1.
Ahmad Rashad was like, oh.
Because Ahmad know. Ahmad know. Like, man, why do y'all keep doing this?
I don't get why people keep doing it. I understand. Like they. I don't understand.
Don't piss him off.
Why? Why are you doing that? Yo, because thing is, you don't even got to do it. He could think it, make it up in his mind.
Right.
So if you're gonna really do it, but like if you're gonna really do it, like just say all he wanted was to say what up. Like, yo, what up?
Yeah. Or at least get your money's worth. Like we gonna bust your ass. Like at least if I'm gonna ignore you and piss you off.
Nah, that's true. If I'm gonna poke you, I'm gonna poke you, I'm gonna stab you. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that way. Whatever comes, it was going to come that way anyway. So I might as well say, get my money's worth. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I really expected that to go differently. Like I did not see, I did not see. Like him watching the tablet. Director again. Shout out to the director because I'm surprised Gary Payton. I don't know if Gary Payton been on ESPN or whatever today. I didn't see, but he was going because. Like Mike just laughed. Like I didn't have trouble with GP. Jeff didn't lock me up. Like I had everything in my mind. I'm thinking about my dad. Like that's the crazy thing. They tell you don't kill the chickens before they hatch. So it's like we up 3-0. He like, damn, if I win, this will be the first championship. My dad won't. Like you ain't win yet. Like,
right.
But you like, yo, this is gonna be the first championship I don't celebrate with my dad. Like, just think about that. Like, and this team played them good during the regular season. It wasn't like it was.
Right. Yeah.
Ahead of it. Like, damn. And that's why, like, it's confusing. Like, so you saying, like, did you want to win on Father's Day?
Right. Like, that's what I got from it. Like, yo, did you purposely lose? Like, did you? All right, let me have 2 off shooting nights. Take it back to Chi-Town and win at home on Father's Day.
Yo, if that's the case, yo, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a psychopath, like Paul said. Like,
that's crazy.
Normal people don't think like that.
Yeah.
Man, like you in the middle of the game, you get the ball in the post, you like, yo, this is my first championship. Like, fam, we still in the game. Like, yo, get back on.
It's not over. Like, it's not over.
When we win, like. When we win, like not if, not the possible. When we win, this is gonna be the first time my dad ain't there. Like, this dude is crazy. This dude is crazy.
Yeah,
like I said, I respected the Seattle Supersonics. You know what I mean?
I respect them as well. Much respect to them.
Yeah, I gave them respect, but I didn't expect like Mike just shrugged them off like it was nothing. But we got 2 more episodes left next week. We already know it's the last two seasons they haven't touched yet, 97, 98. You know what I'm saying? We already know what it is. The Utah Jazz is the finalists in both years. You know, it's going to be those two. We actually caught up. The timeline was front and back, and now we're right at that point in the story. I mean, like I said, I say it every week, but I'm enjoying it. I enjoyed these 2 episodes again. I don't know more or less than the other ones, whatever, but it's like it just gets better and better. It's showing us a glimpse of Mike's past and seeing where he's still at today, and it's like, yeah, he's still that dude.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I know the kids and stuff. You know, he want to keep them out of the limelight, but we know who his older kids and stuff are. But like I said, I would have liked more information. On him and Juanita. You know how they met, but I guess because they went through a divorce and all that stuff, he didn't even want to touch that.
Yeah.
But I think like I said, his schedule, his work ethic, it was like, I want to know how were they like? Because again, there's myth, legend, conspiracies about that relationship and stuff as well. Was it just for to have a wife? Was it just for what I'm saying? Like there's so many. The man just has so much legend behind him. So
Mystique.
The more we could know to be the better. But we're never gonna get the real Juanita story unless you make a documentary.
Right.
She can holler at them, get a 30 for 30.
She'll call it the worst dance.
The worst dance.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like I would love to just get more of that side of him as well. But everything they're touching on, they touched on his gambling. They touching on stuff that I didn't think they were gonna really go into. And he's been open. I mean, like a lot of people call him a snitch or whatever, but I mean, to me, I didn't see throw anybody under the bus or anything like that. He's just been open. The 80s was the cocaine era. Like that wasn't a surprise.
I didn't have a problem with that at all. He didn't say nobody.
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying.
I mean, like, come on, like.
People, like I said, people just want the internet just want to just find something with it. But I'm just like, listen, that
I
was.
can see if he was dropping names, I'd be like, whoa. But I mean, but he didn't,
Other than Horace,
they was in there doing their thing, bro, and I had to go home.
Other than Horace, he didn't drop any names as far as he just said Horace was when it told to Sam Smith. Horace said no, you know what I'm saying? But other than that, he didn't be like, man, listen, they was all doing it was this dude, him.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Like he didn't run through
his cousin.
Cocaine, like
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He just said everybody. As vague as possible. Even when they were drinking the beers, like everybody. People used to just do this, and he kept it real vague. It wasn't like David Stern or Adam Silver now gonna be like, who did that?
Right.
Take their numbers out of the record book or something. Like, no, like he didn't say, you know what I'm saying? So it was just like to me, like I just love his openness. He's been straight up, aside for a couple things, he really didn't touch, he didn't speak on Craig Hodges, he didn't speak on Juanita, but for everything else, they really put it out there. He stood by, him not speaking up for the political stuff. I'm surprised about that. I do agree with you, said Rel. Pippen's gonna need the 30 for 30 of his own. Because this one was Michael. I mean, going into it, didn't know if they were going to be just Michael or if it was going to be like, but this one was Michael with everyone how everyone else falls into place into it. Pippen's going to need a story of his own. I think Pippen is great. I just always thought he never, at the time, before it became a controversy with LeBron and all that stuff, Pippen to me was just Pippen. It wasn't like he was that great. You know what I'm saying? Now people try to big him up just for the sake of, well, Michael had Pippen. And it's like, but look what he had to deal with this dude. Like,
right.
Like this dude, so he's not what you comparing like LeBron's teammates with. Like Wade won a ring before LeBron came to the Heat. You know what I'm saying? Kyrie was such an alpha. He left LeBron when they was in their primes. Like, we could do this again. He's like, I'm going over there because I want to be the man. You know what I'm saying? That mindset is the mindset of a Michael, not a Scotty. You know what I'm saying? And that's the difference. Like, again, people want to just go numbers and numbers. It's like, son, this dude is a psychopath. There's no statistic for that.
Yeah, right.
Nothing. The box score is not gonna say. Like, this is what people like. Look at this man. This man made up a story.
Yeah.
About LaBradford.
About a dude like yo.
And this
the man did nothing to you. The man did not do anything to you.
And it's not even he wasn't even the man on that team. That it was just because he had that one good
He had a
night.
good game. But what you want me to do? I'm feeling it, bro. Like, what you want me to do?
Right.
What you want me to do?
You can't feel it against Mike. You can say that shit.
Yo,
it was just by chance. It was a back-to-back, a home and home. Woo!
Yeah.
Like, he was fresh hot. Like,
yeah. Again, they don't do that these days either. You know, they give you a break between the travel day now. There's no more.
Right. No more at home and home back-to-back.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just wondered because I read somewhere that the director was trying to figure out how to end the whole series off. He was still editing the last episodes.
He ran out of time.
He like
Wednesday, yo, we got the shit ready by Wednesday.
So he could do it Sunday morning, like
right.
Everything's digital now. And then he got to run those film or VHS tape. You know, it's like they upload it to the server. Like,
can we get a Last Dance soundtrack? Because I think the music they play here has been on point since episode 1. Like every track they played is lined up with the feeling and what we're seeing on TV perfectly. You know, so I'm gonna personally plead to the director, make a Last Dance soundtrack. Just all those tracks, put them on there with the year they correspond with, because the music's been on point, yo.
Yeah, totally agree. Like I've been enjoying like every song is like hip hop, but it's like I love those songs, but it's like like you said, the scene that they're showing, the song is perfect for the scene. And it's just like the director did his thing. You know, and not to big up ESPN anymore, but they also got some more 30 for 30s coming too. So, you know, I don't know, we might do some sidebars on a couple of those episodes too.
Yeah, they've been playing a commercial like
Lance Armstrong, Lee, and then Sosa McGuire. Like Sosa McGuire definitely, like I remember we was in high school when that happened, and I remember that summer, and it was just like, yo, who gonna do it first? And you know, what I'm saying?
Right.
The craziest thing is now they both white people.
Now they both white people.
That's gonna be funny to see the flashbacks of Sammy and then him now. Yeah. Like, that's not the same dude. Like, is a stunt double? Like, they got a stunt double for like they couldn't get Sammy? Like, no, that's Sammy. Like, he's just a little lighter now. Oh man, but fellas, you know, always a pleasure. We're gonna be back next week for one more time. Promise I won't
Last
cry.
dance.
It's gonna be the last dance to the last dance. I won't get choked up, won't get emotional. But I've been enjoying this, and you know, we got one more week to go. And I just can't, you know what I'm saying, like I said, I can't wait to see how they're gonna wrap it up. I wonder, you know, if they're gonna do like the words and say, where are they now? Scotty did this.
Right.
Coaching them. Mike is, you know, they're gonna touch on the Wizard years.
That was the after party. You have to call it.
After the dance.
Like that was.
Yeah, but we're gonna see, fellas. Like I said, always a pleasure. Lou, Rel, until we dance again next week. Later, fellas.
All right.
Peace.
This is a Silk exclusive.